I want to offer a huge thank you to my co-sponsor, Councillor Wheeler, for the partnership on this. Before I get to the ordinance, I want to tell a story about my dad. So my dad was born in 1943. He grew up in the 1940s, 1950s in Wisconsin, and he told me that his entire childhood, it honestly never occurred to him, was never mentioned to him, that our country was doing anything other than being a force for good in the world, a force for democracy in the world. This was an unquestioned understanding where he grew up, and this was the case for many, many people in his generation. When he went to college, he even interned for a summer at the Pentagon. For anyone who has met my dad, that is extremely out of character, but he wanted to be a part of this work. So another thing that happened when he was in college is that every night on the television news, there would be footage of the Vietnam War. And he told me he would see this TV footage night after night, year after year, of women and children, civilians, people living in poverty, being bombed, being killed. And he could see with his own eyes that it was our country that was dropping these bombs. It was our country that was killing these people. And I remember him telling me that it took time. He really, really couldn't process this for years, until finally something just snapped in his soul, and his entire way of conceiving of our country, our role in the world, changed permanently. And this is not just my dad, obviously. This was many, many people in this country in that generation. It fundamentally changed their relationship to our government and their understanding of our country's role in the world. It is extremely clear to me that something very analogous has happened to our country again in the past several years, maybe more profoundly. To be clear, I don't think that young people today start with that same sense of naivete of my father's Wisconsin in the 1950s. But even so, I don't think anyone was prepared for what we have witnessed and are still witnessing in Gaza. This generation has watched day after day for years as truly unimaginable acts of violence and destruction have been done to Gaza, to Palestine, a campaign that is directly targeting the entire civilian population, has reduced Gaza to rubble, has been recognized as a genocide by many international human rights groups and scholars. And as they have watched this unfold, they have also seen very clearly that Israel's actions have the complete and total support of our country, of our government. They see that this could not be happening without our country, providing weapons, sending aid, publicly supporting these inconceivable actions that we can all see on our phones every day, read about in the news. And for many people in Somerville, it's not just something that they see on their phones. For our Palestinian constituents, every single one of them has been directly affected by this in unimaginable ways. And I believe, and I think that Somerville believes, that America's support for Israel's actions in Gaza and in Palestine is a profound moral stain on our country. And this support from our government has caused immense and painful divisions right here in our community. And to say that again, what is causing these divisions is our country's support for what is happening in Gaza. So I will say that for myself, I have on multiple occasions at public events in this chamber, I've been told by people that I'm not a real Jew. To be clear, this is not about me. I don't care what people say about me. This is nothing compared to what other people in our community have faced, but I just say this, it's a small sign of the divisions that have been caused by our country's ongoing support for this genocide. So why are we talking about this in a city council meeting? I think that's a fair question. The answer to me is straightforward, because the people of Somerville asked us directly to do so. Somerville residents passed a ballot question directing the city to ensure that we don't use our public funds, our investments, our purchasing to support companies that profit from these horrific acts. 10,000 people signed to get this ballot question, and then the majority of the city voted for it in the same election that put all of us in our seats. So the ordinance that is before us tonight, it is our attempt to do what is being asked of us, and to do so in a way that is legal and practicable. It says that where Somerville has financial discretion, let us protect our own reputation by ensuring that we are not supporting companies that profit from violations of international law or from violations of international humanitarian law, in other words, laws of war. This ordinance, it looks to organizations like the International Criminal Court, the International Court of Justice, the United Nations Human Rights Council, and it says if a company is on the wrong side of the investigations of organizations like this, we will choose to take our public dollars elsewhere. And I want to be clear, this ordinance includes anywhere where serious violations of international humanitarian law are occurring in the world. It specifically mentions Israel and Palestine because we were asked to do that specifically by the people who elected us. But of course, we are not arguing that we should give our public support to these same violations elsewhere in the world. No one would argue that. We know that Somerville cannot dictate foreign policy. We are not trying to. We are seeking to use the discretion that we have to ensure that when we spend our taxpayer money, our residents know that it is not going to companies that profit from violation of international law. Thank you, Mr. President. After we hear from colleagues, I will ask that this be referred to committee for deliberation and discussion. Thank you, colleagues.